thank each and every one of you for being here on this beautiful Saturday morning. Are you guys excited and ready to see Fantasia today?
Woo!
Very good. Well, thank you guys so much for coming. This is the first in a year-long series. It's a monthly series, and it's in partnership with the Walt Disney Archives. They're celebrating their 50th anniversary. Let's give them a big round of applause. They're such fantastic partners. We're so lucky to be in partnership with them, and congratulations to each and every one of the Walt Disney Archivists and the whole team over there, because they've done a fantastic job of helping curate this series. Before we get started, a couple of very brief announcements. First off, you're welcome to use your phones through the presentation this morning until the film starts. So once the film starts, let's make sure we do everybody a favor. Make sure you put your phones away, put them on silent, so there's no light that illuminates, that disturbs anybody's presentation. We want everybody to have a fantastic time. We want to really be concentrating on the reason we came here, right? The film. So in addition to that, guys, just in case of an emergency, you can exit the same way you came in this morning. Also down here, there's exits over to my right, your left, my left, your right. Upstairs, same thing. You can come in the same way. Plus, there's a couple of exits up there, right and left, that you guys can go back out as well. As I mentioned, it's a monthly series, right? So I'd like to announce the next 3 films that are coming up very soon. I want to make sure everybody's aware of these films. Coming up next, guys, 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea.
Mary Poppins!
On February 17th. And then in March, it's Mary Poppins.
Yeah!
And then to celebrate Earth Day, we're going to have Disney Nature's Earth here, right, as well in April. 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea is on sale today. So those tickets are available. They can be purchased at the box office. They can be purchased on the website. You can purchase those. Keep your eye on our social media, guys, so that you can see when we're going to be announcing shortly when Mary Poppins is going to be going on sale, and also when Disney Nature Earth is going on sale as well. And then, like I said, there's going to be more films. There's 1 per month through the entire year. So we'll have more details about the rest of the series coming very, very soon. So thank you guys so much. Now, guys, as I mentioned, this is a partnership with the Walt Disney Archives, and we're so lucky today that we've got Becky Cline with us. And please give her a big, warm round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. Please welcome Becky Cline.
Woo-hoo!
I'm so excited to be here today. Thank you for coming to our very first throwback screening hosted by the Walt Disney Archives and the Capitan. We're going to have some real fun. Now, this particular film is one of my very favorites. When people ask me, what's your favorite Disney animated film, I always have to say that it's Fantasia, because I've loved it ever since I was a child. And there we go. So I wanted to give you a little information first about what the Walt Disney Archives is. I'm sure, does anybody know what the Archives is? Have you been there? Have you heard of it? What we are is a department of the Walt Disney Corporation, and we are the people who protect and preserve the history and legacy of the Walt Disney Company. So I personally have been there for 30 years, and I've been doing this, five days a week, 52 weeks a year. So we know a lot about Disney history, and we are very, very happy to share it. This is our mission statement, that we protect and preserve the history of the whole Walt Disney Company. And we have a lot of materials in the collection, and so this year is our 30th anniversary, our 50th anniversary. The Walt Disney Archives was founded in 1970, so we have 50 years of documentation and props and costumes and photos. We have over 25 million photos in our collection now, and a lot of really great material that we want to share with the public. And so these are ways that we can do it. So today we're doing our first event of our 2020 series. And so this is our very first event that we're doing this year. We're doing all kinds of things to celebrate it throughout the year. This is just a little shot that kind of gives you an idea. What we do is we celebrate the Walt Disney Company from the very earliest years, from 1923 and even beyond, earlier than that, to the present. So here's a photo of Walt Disney in his backyard at his house on Woking Way in the Los Feliz area. And the color portion, as you can see, is the same backyard. That shot was taken in 2014 by one of our archivists. And so what we try to do is bring the history to today, match it up with what we're doing here at the company, and keep track of that as well. So it's a huge job. We keep a lot of material, specifically on every film that comes out. On Fantasia, we have not the artwork. The artwork for the film resides at our animation research library. There's a specific library set up just to do that. But at the archives, we have all the publicity materials and the documentation about the production of the film. So there's a lot of really interesting things in our collection to see. This right here are some of our publicity posters throughout the years, starting with our earliest ones in 1940 and the 1970s. We had this very psychedelic poster. And then in the 80s, we did a more version with Mickey Mouse on it. But we also keep international posters. So these are from some fun artwork that you may not have seen already from Europe and Asia. And of course, we have documentation. This is the souvenir brochure of the screening program. When Fantasia premiered on November 13th, 1940, in New York City at the Broadway Theater, they did a screening program for those who attended. And it's a very special piece. Inside was all the credits for each of the animators and the people who worked on that particular segment of Fantasia. Now, back then they didn't do screen credits, so you don't get to see all these names, but they were all put into this with director's notes and information about the different segments of the film. We have one in the archives that's really special. It was signed by everybody that worked on the film. But if you want to see this brochure, this souvenir program, we have 2 copies of it on display in the lobby. There's a little exhibit there, and right out by the front doors. So if you haven't seen it yet, take a look at it when you leave the theater. Now in that is some very special artwork. This particular artwork is of note to me. This is my very favorite character. Disney animation character. Everybody says, what's your favorite? People say Mickey and Donald and Lilo and whatever, but Hyacinth Hippo. I had to pick something very unique. She's my very favorite because the Dance of the Hour segment makes me laugh every single time I see it. I think it's hilarious. So just a little background on some of the art that we do have in our collection. When they first started an animated film, they start out with character development. And so they do different drawings to try to get the feel of what the character is going to look like. And of course, they come up with a model sheet. And then that is shared amongst all the other animators and artists that are working on the film so that the look of the film stays consistent and the characters always look the same no matter who's drawing them. So they do the model sheets. They also do sculptures. Maquettes is what they're called, or animator models. And we have a whole series of animator models from Fantasia that's very rare and very special. And there's one of the elephants from the Dance of the Hour sequence. Another thing that we do is, back in the 40s, especially 40s and 50s, they would do a lot what they call live action reference. Now this isn't rotoscoping or tracing. What this is that they would actually go and hire actors to wear costumes and act out what was going to be on screen as a reference for the animators. And so this particular, these shots right here that I'm going to show you are very rare. I had never even seen them before I started researching this program. What they did is they went to a ballet studio, dressed them all up in very Grecian costumes, and gave them these big white balls to dance with. And this was reference for the Dance of the Hour segment where the elephants and hippos are dancing with the bubbles. So when you watch the film today, you know, think back to these lovely ladies with their beautiful balls. And you'll see that they actually use this as reference. These are sequences that you'll see within the movie. Of course, the elephants and hippos don't look as svelte as those young ladies, but they're just as elegant. There you are. So that does appear in the film. You'll see that. Okay. So the film also has interstitial live action sections. At the very beginning of the film, you'll see Leopold Stokowski, who is the conductor of the Philadelphia Orchestra, and he appears in this film in live action. And so, that was even storyboarded the concept of the visual development art at the very beginning of planning. So that shot that you see at the beginning with Leopold beginning to conduct the music, you'll see. This is a shot of it being done on Soundstage 1 at the Disney Studio in Burbank. You can see right there in the back, you can see there's some orchestra members getting ready. And this is the actual filming. So you see the shadows of the performers on either side and Leopold Stokowski in the center. And then you'll actually see these shadows on the screen. This is a special effect that was really high tech in 1940. And this is how they did it. This is the studio lot. You can see the animation building in the background. It's really expensive to pay professional musicians anything. to perform, and to get live people on stage just to be in shadow was going to be really, really expensive. So they brought in dummies and made fake instruments. And so a lot of those shadow effects were actually made with these guys right here. So then the film finally premiered. It premiered in New York City, as like I said earlier, on the Broadway Theater. The Broadway Theater has a very special place in Disney history because it had a name before it was called the Broadway Theater. And does anybody know what very famous film premiered at that same theater before Fantasia?
Steamboat Willie,
Featured a very, very famous Disney actor.
Mickey Mouse.
Okay, well, it was actually called the Colony Theater first, and this guy premiered there. So in 1928, Steamboat Willie premiered at the Colony Theater in New York City. They changed the name to the Broadway Theater and then premiered Fantasia there in 1940. Of course, Mickey is one of the most favorite parts of this film, and the Sorcerer's Apprentice section is the iconic piece. In 1990, we had our 50th anniversary for this film, and so they did a special screening down the street at the Cinerama Dome and put a giant inflatable Mickey on top. And this particular photo was in our collection. We thought this was pretty cool with the moon rising over the Cinerama Dome.
That's cool.
Pretty special event. So that's the end of Fantasia information, but I am taking this chance to do a shameless plug for a book I wrote. This is called, it's called The Walt Disney Studios, A Lot to Remember, and it's all about the history of the studio. So we mentioned all the materials and products that were made out of the studio, but it's an in-depth look at the studio itself, which is a pretty amazing place. We don't do public tours, but you can get tours of the studio through D23, who's our official Disney fan club. And I highly recommend going and visiting the studio if you get the opportunity. It's a pretty special place. But the book is available through all kinds of book outlets and Amazon and everything else. And we also have a second book that was done by the archive staff. We did an exhibit at the D23 Expo last summer. It was called about the history of Disney costuming. And so we made a book from that exhibit. And so that book is also available. It was written by Jeff Curdy and co-wrote and produced by the Walt Disney Archive staff. So those are our books that are out. Our next big event to celebrate our 50th anniversary is going to be at the Bowers Museum in Santa Ana. It's an exhibit called Inside the Walt Disney Archives, and it takes you into the archives and see how it all operates, see some of the great treasures that we have in the collection. This particular exhibit has been traveling around Japan for the last 18 months. It's being wrapped up this weekend and brought back here to Southern California. And it's going to be premiering its domestic debut here in Southern California. So please look at this. It opens on March 7th, and you can go to the Bowers Museum website or to the Disney.com, D23, any of those for more information. But it's going to be a really special exhibit. It's going to run about 6 months down there in Santa Ana. So we highly encourage you to join us there. And of course, you'll see some of us here at the next screening. James just told you that we're going to be doing 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea next month. And Michael Buckoff, who is our manager of the photo library, is going to host that one. And Michael has been with the company for a very, very long time and has worked with millions of photos and knows so much about it. We have some amazing color photography from that film that we're going to share with you, and some merchandise and a display and all kinds of things. So please come back and see 20K on the big screen. You know, it's great to see it on the small screen, but it's really spectacular here on a big screen with wonderful sound like they have here at the El Cap. So please enjoy Fantasia. I'm going to go out and watch it too. So have fun, and maybe I'll see you in the lobby afterwards. But thank you so much for coming.